Hi, my name is Catherine Smith. I am currently studying at Ball State right now, and this is for my SPCE 683 class. In this video, we're going to be discussing a certain alternative and augmentative communication device. More of a system than a device. Usually the devices are more technologically advanced. In this, I'm going to be discussing and explaining PECS, which stands for Picture Exchange Communication System. Please bear in mind that I do not have an actual PECS book with me. I have made one just for the purposes of this video, so do note that this is not a true PECS book, but this is to essentially communicate what PECS is, who it would be beneficial for, and to demonstrate what we will be doing with it. So PECS was created in about the 1980s. It is a quite literal picture exchange system. So the way that PECS works is that the client or the individual, whoever is using PECS, will use different pictures. Sometimes these pictures are created, other times they may be created specifically for that client. It just depends on what the needs of the client are. And they will be using those pictures to communicate their wants and needs to the recipient, whether that be a therapist or a mother or a father, whatever have you. So, for example, they would get a board that's similar to this. This is all Velcro. Inside of the board are other places. Usually these are plastic mats. For this purpose, I just use file folders just to, once again, kind of give you an example. And these would have the extra pictures in them. All of the pictures are usually laminated, put down, Velcroed. So this has just some soft Velcro on the back. Usually, at least from what I've seen, it's hard Velcro on the board itself. So, for instance, if I were a client and this particular piece says ABC puzzle, if I were a client and motivated for the ABC puzzle, I would take this picture here, provide it to my recipient, and they would provide me with the ABC puzzle. This doesn't have to be using any form of words, any babbling. Of course, it's always great if the individuals can, but not necessary. For the purposes of who would benefit most from this, usually those who struggle with fine motor skills, so far as pointing goes. A lot of alternative communication systems use pointing. For example, lamp systems use pointing to specifically touch things. Other visual boards may use pointing as well. So if I'm a child and I haven't quite developed the ability to point, or if I'm an individual with autism and I don't quite have that fine motor function, I can at least usually grab and pull off what I need. So the way that PECS is ran consists of various phases. The first phase would be the instructor or the therapist providing the motivating item. Then when the client reaches for it, taking this, handing it to them, handing it to the client, having the client give it to the recipient, giving them that puzzle immediately. For other phases, there are phases such as the discrimination phase. So, for example, you may have a blank one, and you would just have to have them discriminate between the blank and the actual piece. Or you may have something else. For example, this says sand table. Now, as a kid, I'm not going to want the sand table, or maybe I would, who knows. And they would discriminate between this, and eventually you work your way up to full sentences, questions, etc. So this is a fully in-depth developed device system, and it works well for people with autism, people who just have different disabilities and who need that extra support. So thank you for listening to me ramble on a bit about this particular system. I hope that you at least get a better understanding of it. I know it's a bit different seeing as this is not the actual device, but hopefully this gives you a basis for what PECS is. Thanks. Have a good time, a good evening, good morning, whatever it may be.